Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hello and welcome once again to another retro review for Cheap Shot Entertainment. Excuse me. 2022 is going to be a very different year. I've decided that I'm only going to be doing retro reviews of the 20 years previous, and also supporting very independent British wrestling through my channel. So the way I do reviews may change. It may be vlog style rather than doing the reviews afterwards, but certainly the retro reviews will not change. But this is the first video of 2022, and it is a review of the Royal Rumble 2002 from the Phillips Arena in Atlanta, Georgia, in front of 16,106 WWE fans. On a side note, this is a new feature that I'm going to be putting in. The arena can be found in SmackDown Shut Your Mouth and WrestleMania X8 on the GameCube. So SmackDown Shut Your Mouth is on PS2, obviously. If you enjoy the video, please consider leaving a like, subscribe to the channel. I will see you in the main part of the video where we'll get straight into the action. So, Royal Rumble 2002 begins with your standard tag team match for the WWF Tag Team Championships. It is the Dudley Boyz, Devon and Bubba Ray, accompanied by the delightful Stacy Keibler, the Duchess of Dudleyville, and they are going against two ECW originals, Spike Dudley and Taz. Of course, Spike Dudley came in WrestleMania 17 to help the Dudley Boyz. In the space of a year, they've fallen out again. He's become the runt of the litter, so he's been kicked out. And he's teaming with Taz. Taz had a really good start to the year 2000. We're 2 years down the line, because he made his debut at Royal Rumble 2000 against Kurt Angle, in fact. And yeah, he's fallen down the pecking order. So it makes sense for them to be in a tag team, and they work really well together. Two very short in stature guys, but two very entertaining wrestlers inside that squared circle. So after the match goes back and forth, multiple tags, obviously the Duchess of Dudleyville getting involved in lots of different ways. The Dudley Boyz seem like they are down and out, and said person does get involved. She gets knocked off the apron, takes the attention away from the tag team champions, and Spike Dudley and Taz going for the championships and winning those championships, giving the Dudley Boyz a chance to take over. The match ends with the Taz mission on Devon. After Stacy gets involved and gets knocked off the apron, the tag team championships stay with Spike Dudley and Taz. The Dudley Boyz fail in their attempt to win these championships. Now, as I always say, these pay-per-views have to have a match that starts the pay-per-view, starts the show, gets people going. I really enjoyed this match. It was a great opening bout. Very short, as you could expect, being in a Royal Rumble event, because you've got the Royal Rumble, which is going to take at least 60 minutes to complete. So I'm going to give this one 3 cheap shots out of 5, and I'm going to move on to the next match. So we're coming in thick and fast with the title matches at Royal Rumble 2002. That's why I really like Royal Rumble events, because there's lots of title matches and then a Royal Rumble at the end. So this one is for the Intercontinental Championship, one of my absolute favourite workhorse championships, which has fallen down the pecking order in recent years, having WWE added more championships for different brands and things like that. But it's still a lovely looking title. Even the newer one, I really do appreciate. Really appreciate the old school one, but this title has its own place in wrestling history because it's been held by many wonderful superstars that have entertained me over so many years. It is Edge, the Intercontinental Champion, versus William Regal, one of my personal faves, and I was absolutely gutted at recent events where WWE did the standard yearly cutting, although it's becoming a bit of a joke now where they're doing it more often. And he's going, like I say, he's William Regal, so he's awesome. Pull no punches when I say I absolutely adore William Regal and everything that he does. So this match plays out like your standard William Regal match. Edge is also obviously very entertaining in this match, doing the high flying. William Regal, in contrast, doing the groundwork and the hard hitting punches and things like that. So the match goes back and forth as you'd expect. William Regal climbing out of the ring on multiple occasions to try and cut Edge off, and Edge accidentally spears the ref, and this allows William Regal to hit a very strong punch with absolutely no foreign objects involved to knock Edge out, because that is the power of the punch, and he gets the pin. You have a new Intercontinental Champion in William Regal. Hello! Because William Regal is awesome. Edge is also awesome, but I think William Regal is just a cut above, or a Regal cutter above the rest. It's not a very long match, but it is still quite entertaining. I'm going to give this one 2 cheap shots out of 5, and we're going to move on to the next one. So, women's wrestling now. We have the Women's Championship. Again, the titles coming thick and fast in the Royal Rumble event. And it is the Women's Championship with a special guest referee, Jacqueline, in this one. It is Jazz versus Trish. And this may have been the start of the women's revolution in terms of just getting an actual match out of women's wrestlers, because they weren't given a lot of time around this era of wrestling, which is very unfortunate, because you had people like Jacqueline, Jazz and Trish. Trish goes into this match as the current champion, and Jazz has been brought in to be the polar opposite to Trish Stratus, in being a badass who hits hard and just takes no prisoners. Jazz absolutely dominated Trish, giggity, in this match, and just did everything she could to try and win the championship. But Trish catches one bulldog, and Trish catches the challenger off guard with her finishing move. That is a Stratusfaction, and she retains the championship. Now, this is the first time in 2 years where I've been reviewing the Wretro pay-per-views from 20 years ago, where I've actually sat and thought, this match is pretty darn good. It should have got longer, and we don't often go back to this far in women's wrestling. But I think if you were going to say that the start of the women's revolution started anywhere, it may just have been the beginning of 2002. Like I say, another very short match, but very entertaining as well, and told a fantastic story of the champion versus challenger. I'm going to give this one 2 cheap shots out of 5. Thoroughly deserved that rating. I wanted to give it more. If it was given more time, it probably would have. And what could be more entertaining than the start of the women's revolution than 2 old geezers beating each other up with pipes? And that brings us to the next match, which is a street fight between the 2 owners, the dual owners of the WWE at this time, Ric Flair, woo, and Vincent Kennedy McMahon. These 2 beat the snot out of each other, and I absolutely love it. It's absolutely great. Both get busted open, but it's not, it's the old school kind of busted open, not crazy busted open. There's pipes, there's chairs, there's photos being taken of Ric Flair in front of Charlotte, nonetheless. And it was just two entertainers, pure entertainers, entertaining people, and it was great. Such a good match. It's really hard to go through everything that happened in this match, but as you can expect, with it being a street fight, they fought outside, they fought inside the ring, they went up the ramp, they went into the crowd, and like I say, there was photos being taken as well. So the backstory from this is Vince bought WCW, and Linda wanted to counteract. Well, actually, no, the invasion finished, and Shane and Stephanie sold their part of the company to Ric Flair, and that's where we got this, you see. So Vincent Kennedy McMahon does not share with anybody, as proven in recent times, and he got a new business partner in Ric Flair, which I thought was quite cool, because it was a great way of bringing Ric Flair back in, from 1992, 10 years since Ric Flair stepped foot in a WWE ring before this. Figure four for the win, and the fan favourite gets one over on the most hated man in professional wrestling in 2002, and more so now in 2021-22, because of all the things he's chopping and changing, and very radically chopping and changing as well, I'm sure. But that was a great match. I'm going to give this one 4 cheap shots out of 5, because it was just ultimately entertaining. I'm also going to add on to this the Big Boss seal of approval. Check the Big Boss out on his podcast. That is Big Boss Book Club. And you can also see him on the video where we talk about wrestling games. Move on to the penultimate match before the Royal Rumble match itself. It is the Undisputed Championship, The Rock versus Chris Jericho, where The Rock is going for the championship. Of course, Chris Jericho won the Undisputed Championship at Vengeance in December through the tournament, and beat The Rock and Stone Cold in one night. One of the biggest claims to fame that Chris Jericho has ever had, which is absolutely awesome. Love Chris Jericho around this time. He was absolutely brilliant. So the structure of the match, The Rock obviously goes in really solid and starts beating up Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho, of course, being the dastardly person that he is, also has a trick up his non-existent wrestling sleeve, because Lance Storm and Christian tried to interfere in this match on behalf of Le Champion, and Jericho hits the rock bottom and gets a near fall. I love matches. They don't do this nearly as often enough now. Matches where the opponent hits the other person's move to try and get the win and a kick out. I think that is absolutely brilliant. Not only is it shock value, it's like, he just hit the rock bottom. How could he do that? There's only one person that could hit the rock bottom. Yeah, there's only one person that could just lift someone up and throw them down to the canvas. I love the commentary in 2002 as well. But it just made it ultimately more entertaining when they do these things. Rock kicks out, of course. Jericho tries for the people's elbow and is countered and sent outside. Rock is confused and mistakes the American announce table for the Spanish announce table. I mean, obviously he's been beaten up, he's been given the rock bottom, he's been interfered against. He's got to be a little bit confused. No, the Spanish announce table is the one that you're supposed to put people through. That's why they are there. Sorry, Spanish announce table. Rock bottom from Spain to the USA, and a near fall for The Rock after The Rock puts Jericho back into the ring. Low blow, and the exposed turnbuckle comes into play, and feet on the ropes. For this all happens behind the ref's back. Jericho does eventually get the victory with a dastardly finish, and this match is Absolutely epic. Obviously, The Rock was in full control, full fan favourite here from start to finish, but it ultimately just came up a little bit short. The right decision at the right time. It wouldn't make any sense to take the title off of Jericho at this time. And with that being said, I am going to give this one 3.5 cheap shots out of 5. And my reason is that because it got really overbooked with Christian and Lance Storm coming out, although that did play into the overall storyline. And now it's that time again in every WWE pay-per-view from the early 2000s. It's time to go to WWF New York and find out which WWE superstar is at WWF New York because they didn't have a spot on the card. Boom. Well, it turns out that it is the most superstar-y of superstars. It is HBK, the main event, the showstopper, Mr. WrestleMania, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, who is at WWF New York. I would have loved to have been there to be watching the Royal Rumble with HBK. That would have been absolutely awesome. Of course, he is born again at this point, so he's not having a drink or anything like that. But he does seem like a very weird choice to be at WWE New York or WWF New York at this point in time because he was the commissioner, I believe. So, yeah, that's your WWE superstar at WWF New York. And now it's time for the main event, which is the Royal Rumble, the thing that we come to these Royal Rumble shows and stay up until midnight for the Royal Rumble match itself. We get I'm going to do a rundown order, final four, and roughly when people are being eliminated or significant eliminations, and that's how I'm going to structure this. So we get the Rikishi and Goldust. They are numbers 1 and 2, and I always thought it was really weird that the number 1 spot gets all the attention, but the number 2 spot comes in at the same time and very rarely gets the attention. Just one of those things. I'm just going to pick that out there. We get the Big Boss Man coming in at number 3. Bradshaw coming in at number 4. Lance Storm making another appearance on the show at number 5. Al Snow representing the Tough Enough trainees in the crowd as the head Tough Enough trainer. Billy Gunn comes in at number 7. Undertaker comes in, cleans house, because he's the badass. He's the Undertaker. He is the American badass at this point, incidentally. Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy team up against the Undertaker and try and beat him up. They lose miserably, and then Maven comes in. Hardy's back in for retribution on the Undertaker, and Maven eliminates the Undertaker. Probably the worst decision of your life, boy, because what happens next is Undertaker gets really mad. And he gets really, really mad because he not only gets back in the ring, beats up Maven, eliminates Maven, drags his ass right through the arena, and they're still fighting as the rest of the participants are coming out. Eventually throwing Maven through a popcorn machine and then taking a handful of popcorn as he's walking off. What a moment in WWE history. Never fails to entertain me, that elimination, and it will be going on my top 5 eliminations entrance podcast entry for the Big Boss Book Club, so check that out. Number 12, Scotty 2 Hotty gets smashed. Maven in the ring and then eliminated. Taker beats down Maven to the back, which is what I've just mentioned. Christian in at number 13. He's in on his own. Maven in the popcorn, and Taker eats popcorn. And that is the list of events here. It's it's DDP Yoga. Next, at number 14, we get Chuck at number 15. The Godfather, also known as Boris Johnson in this country, because he's the only person that could simultaneously have a character where he's partying all the time and then tell people not to do stuff. So we get 17, Albert. We get 18, Perry Saturn, still on the search for Moppy, of course. The tragedy of Moppy, where She was never ever found. Stone Cold turns in at number 19. Val Venus turns in at number 20. And we get Test 21. Triple H comes in next, and they obviously have quite a big history here in WWE. Hurricane comes in at this point. Stone Cold and Triple H are fighting and tries for the double choke slam on Triple H and Stone Cold. Almost gets there, uses his superpowers to try and choke slam them both, and is eliminated from the match. We get Farouk at number 24. Mr. Perfect making his in-ring return. At number 25, we get Kurt Angle at number 26. 27 is The Big Show. Number 28 is Kane. And number 29 is RVD. Of course, Kane the previous year got the Royal Rumble record for eliminations. I think it was 11 at the time. And 29 is RVD. And number 30, the coveted number 30 spot, is Booker T. Wow, okay, let me have a breather. Okay, so, Mr. Perfect, Stone Cold, Kurt Angle and Triple H are the last 4 participants in the Royal Rumble match. Stone Cold goes out first, followed by Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect in the final 4 of the Royal Rumble 2002. That is awesome. Perfect goes out next, Kurt goes out next, and Triple H wins the Royal Rumble, a redemption for Triple H, having been off with an injury for quite some time. So, I still fully believe this is one of the best Royal Rumble matches in history, and it doesn't get a lot of love. Obviously, 10 years previous was the Ric Flair Royal Rumble match, where he went from number 1 to number 30 and won the WWE Championship. Yeah, I still think this should be up there as one of the greatest. It was entertaining from start to finish. There was no real surprise entrance apart from Mr. Perfect. It seems to be a thing in recent years where they have to have a surprise entry. And yeah, this was just filled with superstars because they were brimming with talent at the time. So there you go. That is your Royal Rumble, and your Royal Rumble winner is Triple H for 2002. So that was your retro review of Royal Rumble 2002. Overall, one of the better Royal Rumble matches that I've seen in quite some time. And yeah, it was definitely a turning point for WWE moving forward into the Ruthless Aggression era coming later on. And a couple of honourable mentions for my good buddies at Squared Circle Jobbers. They play the General Manager mode on SmackDown vs. Raw 2006. And yeah, they're making real headway over there, including getting mentions from Xavier Woods, of all people. Also, check me out on the Big Boss Book Club on a regular basis. Quite often I'm there talking to one of my best mates and tag team partner, Big Boss, and you can check him out on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook, as well as the Squared Circle Jobbers. You can check all those out as well, including the YouTube. Next pay-per-view is No Way Out 2002, so keep it right here for that show, and you might also hear my voice on a podcast with the Big Boss. Best Royal Rumble eliminations recently and in the past, of course. Next, we've got some independent wrestling shows from the Derbyshire, Nottinghamshire area. We've got, of course, New Era from Aspire. Tickets are £5. That is on the 22nd of January 2022. You've also got Future Wrestling on the same night. Tickets are £7 for general admission. And you've also got the Kickstart tour from House of Pain, based in Nottingham. Reneth on the 28th of January, St Anne's on the 29th of January, and then Calverton on the 30th of January, and £5 per ticket, and tickets are available on the door. Pre-booking is not essential, but get in contact with them if you would like a ticket. Last but not least, it's time to choose your colours. stores.close-to-order.cheap-shot-nation and support the channel. And so that is everything from me for the Royal Rumble 2002. I hope you've really enjoyed this rundown of the retro review of the show, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.